Hi, this is Pete Madsen for Acoustic Guitar, and I'm here to talk about my weekly workout lesson on slide guitar. If you're new to slide, then you have some options as far as what kind of slide, what kind of materials, length of slide. So I have a small collection of slides here. In the beginning, you might want to try out a few different slides. In general, slides aren't too expensive, so if you want to try out 3 or 4 different slides, then figure out what sounds best to you. But some of the very common sort of materials are glass, metal, steel. If you have brass, and there's a glass and a ceramic slide. This slide over here is made from magnesium, very light. You'll notice the slides are different sizes. If you think you're going to play just single string slide, you could opt for a shorter slide like this one in front. But if you're going to play full chords in an open tuning, you want to make sure you select a slide that's of a proper length that'll fit over the width of your fretboard. If you're new to slide guitar, you might be thinking, well, what are the benefits of slide guitar? And one of the prime benefits is you can get this microtonal sound. If you notice, I could put my finger in this 3rd fret, and it sounds the same no matter where I put my finger. With the slide, you'll notice there are 4 or 5 distinct microtones. And this is what gives slide that vocal quality. It makes it sound so rich. In each week of this weekly workout, we will be working in a different tuning. To start off with week 1, we will start in standard tuning. If you're playing accompanied with other people, playing slide in standard tuning can be great. You can use your knowledge of the fretboard, pentatonics, what have you, to play slide lines exactly like you might play single note lines as a solo. So example 1 is going to be your basic E minor pentatonic. A lot of guitar players are familiar with that, especially if you play blues, you're familiar with that E minor pentatonic. Now to start off with the slide, I'm going to play that same scale, but I'm going to play it just on one string. This will be the 1st string. In example 2, I'm going to slide from the fret below to the target note of the E minor pentatonic. So I'll start off with E. Now I'm going to slide from F sharp to G. If you're new to slide, what you want to do is keep that slide held low, maybe slightly tilt it out away from the fretboard so that you're only hitting the 1st string. And you want to target the fret wire. This is the difference between fretting a note with your finger, where you fret in between the fret, and slide, where you have to actually target the actual fret wire. Okay, so sliding from 2 to 3, then 4 to 5, 6 to 7, 9 to 10, 11 to 12. So just 1 fret below. And really targeting that fret wire. In example 3, we're going to do some longer slides. So first one I'm going to do from the 3rd to the 5th fret on that 1st string. Just taking my time getting up there. You can play short quick slides or long slow slides. Okay. 3 to 5, 7 to 12. Longer distance. We also need to be able to go long distance or short distances. So to make sure you practice that, repeat that over and over, just so you get the right intonation. Example 4 is going to be the same E minor pentatonic scale, but played on the 2nd string. So the notes will be played open, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, and 12th fret. And again, with the slide, I'm going to do 1 fret below. So open, 2 to 3, 4 to 5, 7 to 8, 9 to 10, and 11 to 12. Example 5, I'm going to do a simple slide phrase that involves playing over 4 strings. Let me play it and then I'll break it down. I started on the first string, slid into the 3rd fret, then went to the 2nd string. Now as I go to the 2nd string, I'm going to tilt my slide slightly in. And then tilt even farther, or not tilt farther, but make sure I'm crossing over to the 3rd string, sliding back and forth between the 2nd and the 3rd fret. And finally end up on the E note on the 4th string. Let me play that again. Okay, well, one of the challenges with playing slide in a standard tuning is it's hard to play full chords, but we can sort of hint at the chord by playing double stops or dyads. So in example 6, I'm going to play an E dyad. It's basically E and G sharp. So the slide can cover both those strings at the same fret and hint at the chord. Or E9 at the 7th fret. This is still example 6. We have hinted an A chord by playing the same kind of double stop at the 2nd fret. And a B chord by playing the double stop at the 4th fret. In example 7, I'm going to play through the B, A, and E chords with these dyads. So I slid into the B dyad, 4th fret, then the A. With the E, I came up to the 9th fret on the 2nd string, slid backwards to the 7th fret, and then quickly back up on the 3rd string from 7 to 9. And that hints at an E, E7, or E9 chord. Okay, in week 2, I have tuned my guitar to an open D chord. D, A, D, F sharp, A, D. So one of the benefits of an open tuning for a slide is I can play full chords with my slide. For example, example 8, I can play a full D chord simply by strumming the open strings. I can play a G chord by placing my slide over all the strings at the 5th fret. And an A chord by placing my slide over all the strings at the 7th fret. Back up to the 12th fret and I have a D chord again. One note about placing the slide over all the strings, you got to be careful to line up your slide with the fret wire once again. If you slant your slide, you'll sound out of tune. So just make sure you line up your slide right along that whole fret wire. The open tunings are great for playing some multi-string licks. Example 9 is very similar to the Elmore James Dust My Broom style lick. I'm going to go ahead and play that. So I'm playing 3 strings at the 12th fret. I slide in from the 11th. And then what's critical here is more the rhythm than any kind of real precise slide placement. It's more about 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Different ways you could play that triplet. You could play it all as downstrokes. You play it as down upstrokes. I like to use my thumb and index finger. It's a very potent, powerful phrase if you're playing a lick like that that goes between a rhythm. It sounds really great. Good party favorite. Okay, another thing about using the open tunings is, of course, open strings that ring sound really nice. So like in a slower, moodier piece, I'm thinking of Dark as the Night, Cold as the Ground, Blind Willie Johnson, or Ry Cooder's Paris, Texas. In example 10, I'm going to play a slower, kind of moodier piece that allows the strings to ring. Do that again. I'm playing a hammer-on, and then I play this open 6 string, which I allow to ring. That's, I think, one of the parts of this that make it a really nice, haunting kind of sound. And then the slide phrase goes underneath that ringing open string. Now, if you're a finger picker, one of the great things about open tuning slide is you can play an alternating bass, any kind of fingerstyle pattern you want, and play slide phrases up and down the neck. So this is example 11A. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm keeping the same finger picking pattern, and then I'm walking up the first string. 4th fret, 2nd to 4th fret, 4th to 7th fret, 7th to 9th fret, 9th to 12th fret. I can use that same finger picking pattern for the 4 and 5 chords, G and A, and this is example 11B. So just by covering the strings, all the strings at the 5th fret, or at the 7th fret, I got my 4 and 5 chords all laid out. And that's week 2. In week 3, we are in open G tuning, sometimes referred to as Spanish tuning. I'm now tuned D, G, D, G, B, D. D, G, D, G, B, D. Very similar to open D tuning, you're tuned to a major triad. You've got multiple strings with both root and 5th, and one string, in this case the B string, is your major 3rd. So a lot of the things that work for open D will work for open G, including alternating bass. One of the things that's really nice is in open G, you got this 3rd string G right here that you can use as a pedal tone to play a really cool, any number actually, of very cool slide licks. So this is example 12. Really just bouncing off that open G string. I played open, 3rd fret, open, 5th fret, open, 7th fret, open, 10th fret. Since we have 2 G strings, the 3rd string and the 5th string, I can double up on these licks. The same thing with open D, by the way. If you have any 2 strings that are tuned to the same note, you could simply lay your slide over that same fret. This is example 13. using that same pedal tone idea, open 5th and 3rd string, slide into the 3rd fret, and I'm actually finger picking here, so I'm just grabbing the 5th and the 3rd string. Okay, I could also strum through that. For example 14, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. There was a really beautiful song that came out in the late 1950s called Sleepwalk, done by the duo of Santo and Johnny. And the licks were played on, or the melody was played on lap steel. Well, we can kind of emulate some of those lap steel ideas on our guitars with the Bottleneck. So example 14, a little trick I learned many years ago. You can play a harmonic and then roll your slide over on the other side of the nut, keeping contact with the string and nut, and then sliding up to get other notes. So this opening phrase, this phrase I'm playing here, that would be the opening phrase of that song, Sleepwalk. Hitting the harmonic, bringing the slide over, sliding to the 2nd fret, 9th fret, and then 4th fret, all keeping contact with the string the whole time. Kind of a neat trick. It sounds really slick and beautiful. An example 15, this is also similar to one of the phrases in Sleepwalk. And the idea is that you are able to play multiple notes with the slide with just one pluck of the string. This is example 15. Notice at the end of that, I slid from 1st fret to the 3rd fret, to the 4th fret, and back to the 3rd fret. I just plucked it twice there, but in reality, I'd only pluck it once. So you have to make sure your intonation is really clean and crisp in order for that to sound just right. Remember, target the fret wire, not in between the fret. Example 16, more of these multiple notes played with only one pluck of the string. So what I started here was on the 3rd string, 4th fret, then to the 2nd string, 3rd fret, back and forth between 3rd and 5th fret. 3rd and 5th fret on the 1st string, 5th and 7th fret, 7th and 9th, 9 and 10, and finally 9 to 12. Play the whole thing again. Okay, for week 4, we're going to do something a little different. Weeks 1 through 3 were pretty much blues-based examples, but now we're going to try for a little more of an exotic sound. I've tuned my guitar to a variation of open D. This is open D7. So I have D, A, D, F sharp, C, and D. Okay. In example 17, I'm going to play a Middle Eastern sounding scale. I'll do it without the slide at first and then play it with the slide. Open, 1st fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret, 12th fret. Okay, so that really does a distinctly different sound from our blues examples. In example 18, a little trick I came up with, it's kind of evocative of what I call the fly sound. And it sounds like this. I'm bouncing the slide on the first string at the first fret. It's just kind of tickling the string, keeping my thumb back here so that it's in contact. Okay. Then, in example 19, I'm going to play a phrase that walks up the first string. It sounds like this. So I'm using the scale tones that we talked about before, going from 1st to 7th fret. Back and forth between 6 and 7. Sliding from 7 to 12. 8 to 7. Now if I incorporate the second string and do a similar kind of thing, like in example 20. Another thicker kind of interesting sound. There's a lot more you could do with that exotic sound. I say pick up your slide, experiment. You can work the first string quite a bit, second string quite a bit, then add in other strings. That's the way to approach the slide. And then just go out and have fun, use your imagination. And to take it to the next level section, I just want to introduce the idea of purposely playing notes a little flat or sharp of the intended note. Let me play the example and then we'll break it down. I've heard players like Ry Cooder use this idea of playing up the note but not really coming all the way up to the note. For instance, I'm sliding up to the 4th fret, but I come up a little short. I don't come directly to the B note. A little flat of the B note, and then I play a G note. Kind of leaves a nice little tension going before you hit the actual intended notes. Then I come up to the 7th fret. I'm just going a little sharp of the 7th fret. I'm not going completely to the 8th fret. 3rd measure. And the last measure, I start my note flat of the 3rd fret. So these are the kind of a little more of an advanced thing that you really want to be conscious of when you play a little flat, a little sharp. You don't want to unintentionally play sharp or flat. You really want to have a good ear for what you're doing.